Hey everybody, this is Mike Moran for Bold Blind Beauty. On this podcast, Men in Motion for April 2020, we had the pleasure of interviewing Peter Altschul. Peter is a well-known blogger, musician, mediator, workplace diversity specialist, and a step-parent who has published 2 books. One is a compilation of short essays, breaking it down and connecting the dots, creating common ground where contention rules, published in 2017, and the memoir, Breaking Barriers, Working and Loving While Blind. Currently, Peter resides in Missouri, the great state of Missouri. Let's join the interview now.
Welcome to Bold Blind Beauty and B3 Magazine, an online community where real beauty transcends barriers. Bold Blind Beauty's 2020, a Year of Vision campaign, also celebrates blind and visually impaired men. And I'm your host, Nasreen, and I have with me Michael Moran from Clear Vision Network, who is also part of our wonderful team here. And today we're going to be chatting with Mr. Peter Altschul, who is our featured guest for the April 2020 segment of Men in Motion. I have known Peter for a few years, and now you will come to know him too. Mike, take it away.
Peter, I have seen your name in the what I affectionately call the blind vine for many years. I remember seeing you a lot on various emails and so forth, and then I lost track of you. I don't know what happened. I guess computers crash and address books go away and whatever happened. And this was like, I don't know, 8 to 10 years ago. And you were a busy guy then. I read some of your accomplishments before we joined the podcast here. And I'm just wondering, how did you get started on your journey here? I mean, first of all, tell me about blogging and your writing achievements.
Thank you for having me on. It's great to be here. I never really enjoyed writing, actually. But when I moved out to Columbia, Missouri, my wife challenged me to take a graduate level writing course. And I said, I'll never get in. I've never written anything. I've never taken a creative writing course. And she said, well, go for it and see what happens. So I applied, and much to my amazement, got accepted. And so I thought, okay, well, that must mean I have some talent in the writing area, and I should take it more seriously. So that's how I started writing my memoir, Breaking Barriers, Working and Loving While Blind, which came out in 2012. And when we started marketing the book, my publicist said, you need to start blogging. And I said, well, okay, what should I blog about? She said, anything you want.
And that's okay. When blogging started, isn't it? Around 12 or 10, somewhere in there?
Yeah, 2012. That's when it started. And I'll just say one other thing. So I said, well, any idea, any tips? And she said, yes, keep every blog fewer than 750 words. And I thought that was the best advice she gave me, because a lot of the blogs that I've seen are over 750 words, and I find a lot of them, not particularly readable. So I've really made an effort to keep my thoughts concise, and I think it's been pretty effective.
And how do you get the blogs out there, Peter, like so that they're seen by other people?
I use WordPress, and then I market them using Twitter, occasionally Facebook, and I have an email list that I use a lot, which continues to grow. And so whenever I send a blog out, I'll send out notices to folks I think who will be interested. And I hope that my Twitter feed gets people to read the blogs too. Occasionally when I tweet out something, I'll get an interesting response from somebody from Australia or someplace I never would expect to hear from. So it's been an interesting experience.
And Peter, I'm part of that mailing list of yours, and I just absolutely love reading some of your blogs because I find that satire type of writing style that you have is just phenomenal and unique. And sometimes, there's a chuckle at the end of reading your blog, or kind of like a statement, kind of, exclamation point. You lighten up there going, hey, I didn't think of it like that, or this one here is really an oxymoron.
Well, thank you. And I do write that. And I try to write in all kinds of styles and all kinds of topics. I've been focusing more on politics than I'm used to doing because of what's going on in the United States. But my most recent blog, which will come out today, has to do with irony in music. I'm a musician, and this is a topic that interested me because of a piece one of the choirs I'm singing in will be singing in April.
I noticed in your bio that you worked with the taxi cab union in New York. Not an easy thing to do. What was your role there?
Well, back then, Mayor Rudy Giuliani was the mayor, and he was getting lots of complaints about taxi cab rudeness. And in his infinite wisdom, he decided that every cab driver had to go through a 4-hour customer service training program. And I was hired to be one of the trainers to do that program. And there's a lot to say about it, but it was a fascinating group of people to work with, people from all over the world with differing experiences. And I learned, I think, more from them than they learned from me. It was a wonderful group to work with.
Who would you say your biggest influencer in life is, Pete?
The person that comes to mind first is my mom. When I was raised, the idea of mainstreaming a blind kid into a public or private school was unheard of. And so I was the first blind kid in the private school I attended through 8th grade, and then a public school that I went to in high school. And that took a lot of advocacy on her part and some sort of skilled marketing on her part to get me to do what needed to get done. And I always admired her willingness to take those chances and to fight the system in a respectful way most of the time, and to be a good educator. And later, my dad became an influence, and then there were a number of people more recently. Most recently, Kobe Bryant, who I find absolutely fascinating, a guy who started off as a spoiled brat with great talent, who morphed into this incredible adult who worked with women's basketball and did so many great things for the community.
Are you going to publish any more books? You have any more books in the works?
I am actually pondering. My second book was called Breaking It Down and Connecting the Dots, Creating Common Ground Where Contention Rules. The title was too long, and I don't think that book was especially successful, both in the sense of the way it was marketed and also in the way some of the articles I wrote in that book, I just don't think were up to my expectations. So I am in the process of crafting a second edition, if you will, that really I think is much more concise about what I'm trying to say. What I'm sort of thinking about doing, since I don't have the resources right now to do this myself, is to find a group of people that can help me fund and market the book. So that's sort of what I'm thinking about in the future.
I would like to ask you about your role as a step-parent and husband. What are some of the challenges you faced in that role? Well,
one of the things you said is that you lost touch with me for the past 10 years, and that's primarily what I've been doing, is being a step-parent to three kids. Being a step-parent has its own set of challenges, not the least of which is they have their own biological dad who they love and respect as they should. So to sort of try to fit in between their mom and their dad has been a real challenge. It turned out when I moved out here that each of them have their own disability, psychiatric disability or learning disability. And so that prompted me to sort of do what my mom did, which is to work with the school system to try to get them the support they needed. And of course, Lisa was very good at that as well. And we were pretty successful, but boy, is it a challenge.
Certainly you are an exemplary role model, and I'm very happy to have had you on the program and to finally connect with you after 10 years. I mean, you probably didn't know I was out there, but it's my pleasure to speak to you. Naz, would you like to say a few parting words to Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. Peter, I've known you since about 2016, 15, and so it's great to catch up with you again. And in 2020 of all years, and have you as our featured guest for our April segment of Men in Motion, which is found in our B3 magazine at Bold Blind Beauty. So I want to thank you, Peter, for being here and sharing your journey with us. And for anybody who wants to know where you can find Peter's segment and listen to this and read up on Peter's segment and more about what we do here at Bold Blind Beauty, you can visit our website at www.boldblindbeauty.com, where you'll find all our segments and features. Thanks so much for listening.